Alright, here is a video about univariate statistics in SPSS. We're going to start with descriptive statistics. These are those numbers that summarize your variables. You will need to do this for every variable that you have in your analyses. So first, we write the word descriptives. That's the command that tells SPSS what you're going to do right there at the beginning. And it will turn red if you've done it correctly. Next, you don't need an equal sign, just a space, and then you type in the variable names, separated again by a space right in here, and no period at the end. You can list as many variables as you want to. You only need to do the ones for your analysis. You don't have to do every variable in your data set. Next, we put a backslash, put a space before that, and then we're going to tell it which statistics we want it to do. Don't forget your equal sign on this one. Then we need the mean, standard deviation, and then the minimum and maximum number. That will actually give you the range. And don't forget the period at the end. Next, it's interpreting the output. This is what it's going to spit out at you. The variable names here will match your variable names. Next, we have the N, which is the number of participants that answered each variable, items for the variable. So 397 participants in this study answered variable number 1, and 333 did variable number 2. There are different reasons why they may not answer all items, but this shows you what that is. Next, we get the minimum and maximum, and it shows us the range. So here the range for variable 1 would be 6 through 30, and the range is 1 through 5. In elementary school and other classes, you may have heard to subtract the 2 and give one number. We don't want to see that. We want the actual range. So write it like this. Next, we get the means. Top one will be the mean for variable 1, second one the mean for variable 2, and then your standard deviation for each variable. And remember to round to 2 decimal places when putting it into your manuscript. Next, we have the frequencies. This is how often an answer was given. So in order to get the frequencies, first we run the frequency command. So like descriptives, now we're typing in the word frequency. Again, no equal sign here, just a space. Then your variables again. It'll look very similar to that descriptive you just ran as far as the syntax goes. And don't forget the period at the end. It won't work without a period. Now this is what the output looks like. We have, I have 2 different types here for the variables, so you can see 2 different kinds. One's where you get a bunch of numbers, and one where you get words. So these are the option answers. This is from a scale, so that you may have answered a question on a scale of 1 to 5, and there were 6 questions. So although technically 1 through 30 would be the options, the actual smallest number was a 6. But somebody could have answered a 1, a 2, and then 3 more 1s. So this is where you were summing it up. It's something you computed previously. And that's why you get so many different numbers in here. This is telling us how many people. So in the sample, 158 of the 397 participants answered 6. That would be 31%. And this is what we call the valid percent. That's the one I want you to use, because down here, it's over here as well, but there's more space. So down here, missing, not everyone answers every item. So if they don't answer it, it calls it missing. For example, here, single participants won't be answering questions about marriage. So in both cases, this line, or this line, is including the missing ones into that 100%. But your sample now is only going to be how many actually participated. So that's out of that 100%. So use the valid percent. Next we have the convex alpha, and this is how well the items hang together to make the scale or the variable. So if you computed a variable, you did the compute equals 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, anything you might have done like that, then you need to calculate a convex alpha to see if those items actually stick together very well. This is called a reliability, to see how well things go together. So that's actually a reliability that you're calculating in one sense, but the number it creates is called the convex alpha. So the reliability and convex alpha go together. Next, you list the backslash and variables equals, and then here you write in your item. These would be the exact same things you used for compute. Go and find your compute syntax and stick it in here, and then delete the plus signs because you need spaces, not plus signs. And remember, if you had to recode an item, get the recoded item. That would be the same one that you would have added up in the compute line. Next, inside of these single quote marks, type the name of your variable. It will be the same word that you have after the word compute. So when you computed it, you put compute, and then you made up a name, and then it says equals, and then the item. So here you have compute, and then this is that same name, and then whatever went after the equal sign should be right here, with no pluses, just spaces. Don't forget to put the space in front of a backslash. You see where the R is lined up, there's a space in there. And make sure all of these summary equals, make sure all of that is exactly the same. The only thing you should be changing is the item and the variable 1. Those are the only parts that'll come from you. And again, don't forget your period. So from here, not sure why that one's up, but that's all right. We are looking at the output. We're looking first at these ones here were excluded because of missing data. So this is that missing data line from previously. They're now showing up right here. This variable 1, again, it's the name you made up, should be that word right after compute that you stuck in right here. Whatever you type in there will show up. Next we have the N. Again, that's N stands for number. In this case, the number of participants who answered the items. So we have 397. And the percentage is the percentage of participants who answered. So 78% answered and 21% is missing. Here is the part of this output that you need to find. This is the statistic you are looking for, this 0.593. This one's borderline. You've got to put in whatever it says, but you want it to be 0.60 or better for a good scale. If it's really low, then you may not have reverse coded something that needed to be reverse coded. I would go back and check. Finally, here, this gives you some information that may help you figure out which one is a problem one. It shows you what the answer would be if one of them is deleted. That here we definitely don't want to delete number 2 because it goes all the way down to 0.35 if we delete it. Again, if you have a low number here, these may help you figure out which ones probably needs to be reverse coded. If all of these are saying, if you had, for example, a 0.44 and it says 0.44, 0.34, 0.44, and then you delete this one and it would go up to 0.78, then that one probably needs to be recoded. not necessarily deleted. So that's all that you need to do for your descriptive statistics section of your method section. Once you've done this, go ahead and put those numbers into your method section. And don't worry about these other boxes. You don't need to use these in your analyses. But you can see here the items for your own purpose. And thank you.